I'm going to preview the number 13 Baylor versus number 11 Tennessee men's basketball game, which will be played literally tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time or later, depending on that Virginia versus number 22 St. John's men's basketball game at 6 o'clock. It all depends about that, and it's in Nassau, Bahamas, as a neutral site game, part of the Baja Mar Hoops Bahamas Championship tonight. And I'm going to say that Baylor had a dramatic win against number 22 St. John's. Check out the highlights, 99-98, double overtime. So Baylor's 4-1 on the year. Well, Tennessee is undefeated at 5-0, but who have they played? Who's their toughest opponent? Virginia or Louisville? Yeah, they haven't played any ranked opponents this year. They're 5-0. And I'll put the outlook on Tennessee men's basketball in the description below so y'all could see it. And I'm just going to mention the names of the guys, and y'all could just read the stats. So, who's their leading scorer? And they had 3 double-digit scores. The first one is Chaz Lanier, and number 2, 6'4", 199-pound guard as a senior. And I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. And it's Igor Milicic Jr., number 7, 6'10", 225-pound forward as a senior. That was actually one of the guys that Baylor tried to get after in a transfer portal, but they couldn't get him. By the way, there's the guy Ziegler, number 5, 5'9", 171-pound guard as a senior. That's their double-digit scores. They do have like Jordan Gainey, that's close to double figures. And number 11, 6'3", 186-pound guard as a senior. There's Felix Akpara, number 34, 6'11", 235-pound forward as a junior. There's Jemai Mashak, number 15, 6'4", 201-pound guard as a senior. There's Cade Phillips, number 12, 6'9", 212-pound forward as a sophomore. Okay, the following 2 guys I'm not going to mention because they're out for this game. But they did have like Darling Stone Jabbar play for the first time all year. He was dealing with a personal issue. I looked it up this morning. Number 8, 6'8", 211-pound guard as a senior, but that's like 4 points per game, and that's really all the guys you need to know that are probably going to play in this game. They only played like 7 guys that played like 11 or more minutes last night for Tennessee. If you look at it, you got to make adjustments on the fly for this game. You got to adjust to the officiating. I'm just saying, like, what if they allow more stuff to happen instead of being so ticky-tack? I mean, and sure, there might be questionable calls, but you got to get over it and move on to the next play. You got to dig deep because you are coming off of a double overtime win. And no matter what the result is, this is a good practice for the Big 12 tournament. And I know the same thing could be said for Tennessee for the SEC tournament. I know it could. But they dominated last night, and it was a really close game for Baylor and St. John's. And that was like another Big 12 men's basketball game to me. It just felt like it, just to be honest. Obviously, you do need to make adjustments from last game to this game, as in like correct what you did last game, bring it to this game, and what you did right last game, bring it to this game. And Langston Love did play for Baylor last night, but it was like very limited. I don't know how effective he's really going to be, but if nothing else, he has another guy in terms of depth because they needed that, to be honest. And yeah, they did play. I want to look at Tennessee real fast, like on this, like Bishop Boswell, but it was like a minute or less than 2 minutes into the game. Yeah, like 2 minutes or less. And same thing goes for Grandhurst. Just to let you know. And Kate Phillips only played like 7 minutes last night. So, just to let you know, and all this. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You cannot start as slow as last night against St. John's. I'm just telling you up front. You cannot be in that situation back to back games. You just can't. Obviously, on like you gotta have more bench points than the opponent. Yeah, that would really help. If not, like limit the bench for Tennessee as much as possible. I, that's another thing to mention here. On defense, we do need to contain the shooters, contain the slashers. Don't let them live at the free throw line. Because I know St. John's got a lot of attempts last night, and they didn't make them. I get it. That was part of the difference in the game and everything, but you cannot allow that to happen again. Just can't. You got to get some defensive rebounds to limit those second chance points, and not just second chance points, but like third chances after a miss. They get the rebound and try to put it back up. You got to get the board. Well, and it's whether it's man-to-man defense or zone or box and one, you get the whole point. And they could obviously do like some pressure as well. Baylor could. So we're going to have to wait and see what Baylor really does in this game here. You got to be better on three-point shooting defense than last night. Plain and simple. You got to. And limit the points in the paint as much as you can. Limit the points off turnovers. This fast break points slash transition. And you got to force some turnovers and disrupt the rhythm. I mean, that's just telling the truth about that. And now I'm going to just transition to the offensive side of the ball. What you did right last night offensively, bringing this game last and make a lot of threes, and hopefully, and if your threes are not going down, drive to the basket. I mean, drive. Of course, you want to limit those turnovers as much as possible, and you got to get some points out turnovers, get some transition points, especially if you get like a defensive rebound and push the ball up court and get some free ones, either at the rim or at the 3-point line. In this game here, you don't want to have like illegal screens. You don't, or live ball turnovers especially. You don't want to have those dead ball ones. I know. You gotta make your free throws count better than last game, because let's be honest, Baylor had a chance last night to put them away twice. In regulation and in the first overtime. Couldn't do it, but ultimately it didn't really matter because Baylor somehow came back to win in double overtime last night. I'm just saying. And all this, you gotta execute better. I mean, offensively at times. And all this, and get the ball in really good, and don't have like turnovers off the inbounds or side out. You know, you got a good job on both on offense and defense for that. Obviously, if it comes to a situation that, hey, you need to get the ball in and there's pressure at you, if you need to call a timeout and you have timeouts available, call a timeout. I mean, if you're double teamed, try to call a timeout. Somebody needs to. And you got to be ball tough in this game because Tennessee will force turnovers. I know they did. They did that to Virginia last night when you look at the numbers. I mean, 18 turnovers. 18. Yeah, they didn't get any steals last night, but they had 5 blocks. Honestly, you want to avoid like offensive fouls, like a charge. And obviously, if you could force some charges on defense and get That would really help, and same thing goes for the blocking. And one thing across the board, you gotta do better in foul trouble. I mean, it would really help in this type of game here. And play with your hair on fire for this game. You have nothing to lose. What do I mean by that? The only thing you gotta lose is the championship. This is another quality test for Baylor. This is their fourth ranked opponent all year long already in the first 6 games. That's insane to me. And Tennessee's more rested. They dominated Virginia, but it was mostly like a second half deal when they pulled separation. Let's just be honest. And it only had like 2 double-digit scores in Lanier and Milicic Jr. So we need to try to slow those 2 guys down, definitely. And look, also not just from like last night, the more rested, but the higher ranked team, they're undefeated. I mean, let's go out there, give our best shot, and show them like we're not going to back down early, and obviously, or even back down, period. Don't be intimidated by the Tennessee fans that are there. Same thing goes for the Tennessee players. I mean, just tell them the truth. Go out there, trust your work, and hopefully VJ Edgecombe does have a better game. I hope he does, especially in front of his friends and family that are there for the game. And hopefully Jimmy Roach steps up like he did last night and bailed Baylor out. Let's just be clear. He bailed them out. He bailed Baylor out, and no Chad O'Meara needs to continue to have like the game he did, and hopefully Jalen Celestine could step up in terms like off the bench, and Langston Love needs to do his role, whether it's scoring or assisting in defense. And if he does provide another body that they could technically go with the 4-guard lineup and put No Chad O'Meara at the 5, or even Josh Uzuwuna at the 5. And hopefully Josh Uzuwuna does have a better game. He's got to be better on the glass and be tougher. And I don't want to call out the individual out like that. It's just when you look at the film, you know why. I mean, it's just telling the truth. And hopefully Jane Nunn has a good game. And same thing goes for Robert Wright. And Robert Wright's the real deal, folks. He's been doing it since the Gonzaga game. I mean, it's just telling the truth and all this. And if Jason Asamoah needs to play, he needs to do his role. But we'll see how much he's really going to play. And hopefully none, because the foul trouble is limited. I mean, it's just telling the truth. And that's pretty much all the guys I need to mention. I know Langston Love might not play a lot of minutes. He's probably be limited still. But if he could just help on like getting assists to players, that would really help. And it will take some time for him to get back to where he was prior to the ankle injury, let's be honest. But at least he's playing for the first time all year. And hopefully he could score in this game. Just get the first points out of the season out of the way. Whether it's a layup or a 3. But if nothing else, this is going to be good for him to get some playing time if he can in this game in order to get ready for the Big 12. Because you know the Big 12 is a gauntlet. I mean, it's just telling the truth. And this is ironic, like another quality coach matchup. Scott Drew versus Rick Barnes. Those two were played, of course, coached against each other when Rick Barnes was at Texas. I mean, and all this, and let's go out there, give it our best shot. That's all I could ask for, because regardless, we didn't go 0-2 in this tournament. We did it, and we could have potentially, because if you would have lost to St. John's, you might have let that game beat you twice against Virginia. But Virginia, they're the weakest team in the field, but you can't take them for granted. but it's just telling the truth. And of course, you kind of try to need to like have the heart of the champion, as in like just get through it. The physical pain, physical stuff, like from like playing literally a longer game and play the next day, not just physically but emotionally. You gotta let that game go and focus on this one. And let's go to work, fellas. That's all I could ask for. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe it. See you guys later on the road to 7 subscribers. Goals ultimate goal. It's 1,000 more, some more money out the score. So, like video, comment video, really helps YouTube algorithm. Some more people to see it. Share the video does help as well, so more people could watch it. And if you're watching and not subscribed, hit subscribe button, read the notification bell as well. And if you do have a lead in this game, extend it out. Not just protect it, but extend it. And obviously, if you're down, keep on chipping away, just like you did against St. John's. And hopefully, you do not need to be in that situation like you were against St. John's literally last night. Down 18, got down to 14 at halftime. But once you got down to 7, and then down to 2, it was pretty much you were back in the game. But let's not try to put ourselves in that position again. And I'm sure the players and coaches know that for a fact. You don't want to put yourself in that situation back-to-back games. And hopefully you are resting up for this game. Whether it's like ice baths from last night or try to take it easy on your legs, home and watch film on Tennessee. And you got, of course, like I said, you got to adjust to Tennessee both offensively and defensively. Not just from first half to second half, but during those halves. During those, like, timeout to timeout situations, possession by possession. Let's go to work.